What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. Thank you for stopping by. All right, they're just getting all set up over here. All right, let's do it. Rachel, this really is Doug from TikTok. Thanks for coming by. Cassie, Raw, what did you mean? Nice haircut, Atlanta. Thank you. Yes, got it chopped yesterday, big time. What's up, NH Roz? How are you? How's everyone doing today? In the market for a car? No. Do I like all the bow ties video? Yes, sir. I love that, Ernst. Thank you. That is the support that I love. Don't have to be here to buy a car necessarily, but love the support. Ba, 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 ba. All right, what's going on? Who signed the football behind you? Brian Brennan and Archie Griffin and Jim Trussell. Love your videos. Thank you, Rachel. I appreciate that very much. I look like a real-life ventriloquist doll. Wow. That's new. Okay. How often are you getting your haircut? It's always, well, late. I was doing every 3 weeks, and now I've reduced it down to 2 weeks because it grows fast, so had to go down to 2 weeks. Patty, what's going on? Can't get Jared to reply to my VW and Porsche kid. Jared bigger than Russ, I guess. I don't know what that's about. What's today's topic of choice? Well, Jason, I tend not to have a topic when I show up to these. I just let you all ask questions and I answer them as I see them. And if there's anything of particular interest, I will try to give it as much time as I possibly can. So my favorite model right now, Arthur, is definitely the Sealy 53 AMGs. Coupe and convertible. I'm a convertible guy myself, but I'm also love the coupes. I think that it's a total home run for Mercedes-Benz. But as a daily driver, I'm driving an EQS SUV, and I'm very into those. So very into the. You guys sell any cars today? Yeah, we've sold some cars today. I will say that we definitely have more deals that we have worked than we do, deals on the board to show for it. But that's okay. We'll get them closed up. Would your dealership help coordinate a buy from overseas if I were interested in a right-hand drive Mercedes? I'm not sure I'd be able to help you there. So we could certainly receive the car here and inspect it when it got here, but I wouldn't really be able to do anything about actually getting the car from overseas. So yes, the EQS SUV is very comfy for daily driving, absolutely. That Bentley color was very interesting. Stephanie liked the greenish blue hint that it had. Yeah, it was very cool. It was we're seeing a lot of that recently. These kind of light blue silvers, they're very popular. Eric, I'm here doing deals as a captive lender. Lots of COVID cars with negative trade coming in. Yeah, Eric, there's a lot of that going on right now, 100%. I don't know if you can say which captive lender you work for, but it's tough out there right now. Danny, cheers from Universal Nissan Orlando. Danny, thank you for stopping by and saying hi. I appreciate that very much. Do your salespeople take all of their days off? I mean, generally. If they've got something going on, if they have a reason to be here, they'll be here. But I do my best to encourage them to take their day off. I don't want this to be like traditional car business where you're shamed for not being here. Now, obviously, if you're having a really rough month and your numbers are low and you haven't sold a lot of cars, then it might make sense to be here on a day off to try to put a month together. But again, I let my team, have their life outside of work, because I remember when I was new to the business, I'd catch a lot of flack for not being there on every day off, and I really didn't like that. So I don't want to be that guy, right? Jeff, hello from Muirfield. Well, hello, Jeff. How are you? You a member there? You get to play? Thank you for sharing the live. Thank you for everyone who's here. By the way, let's get the likes going today if we could. I'd love to get to 50,000 likes by the time this stream is up. That would be amazing. Haven't really pushed for something like that in a while, but if you could hit the like button, the thumbs up button, the follow button if you're not following already, that means a lot to me. It really does. TX, Mercedes-Benz of North Olmsted is the dealership. We're in Cleveland, Ohio. Bow tie is fire today. Thank you, Taco. Yeah, this is a good one. This is Hermes. This was a gift from a client. Super generous gift. I mean, this is a really nice bow tie. One of my favorites. William says, oogly boogly. Okay, William. There you go. Chris, greetings from BMW North Scottsdale Sales. Nice, Chris. What's going on all the way from Arizona? What's a low sales month for one of your team members? I mean, you know, if you're under double digits, if you're under 10, we would consider that to be a low month. Jeff, I want to trade. Hold up, this looks good. I want to trade my 2025 Jetta S straight up for an AMG Coupe 63 Pro. You know, that's a good deal. Yeah, there you go. That's about even. Any exciting AMGs coming out this year? Kenny, yes. The most exciting AMG coming out this year is the E63 wagon that we have. E53 wagon that is coming in a couple months. So the E53 wagon, that's an all-new model. Really excited for that. Hot wagons. And yeah, very excited about that. Bare minimum is 9 cars. There's 13 pre-owned, 13 new sales guys. Next year's 13 cars. Okay, so you guys have a pretty big store down there, it sounds like. Can you explain equity when going from one lease to another when using less miles than leased for? So Adam, if you use less miles than you contracted for, there's no guarantee that you're going to have equity, but you certainly give yourself a better chance. But you have to understand that residuals that are set by manufacturers on leases are not always accurate. You know, in the luxury world, I like to say that at best, they are an approximation of future value. At worst, they are completely arbitrary. So especially with luxury manufacturers, they will inflate or deflate residual values in order to achieve certain lease payments. And there are a lot of times where cars will have lease payment or residuals that are extremely high, and there's just no chance that the car is going to be worth anywhere near that when it comes off of lease, even if you drove low miles. And other times they'll have really, really low miles. And when that happens, they'll have really, really low residuals. And when that happens, you do have a good shot at some equity when you get to the end of the lease. So, Mark, I'm not a European car enthusiast. I'd enjoy your clips as you're providing real-world situations and sets higher expectations. Keep up the great work. I appreciate that, Mark. Thank you for watching. I get it that not everybody that watches the videos is a Mercedes-Benz or even a BMW, Audi, whatever client potentially, but hopefully you're at least getting a look at kind of what goes on in the dealership, and I'm hopefully giving you some things to look out for and show you what a car buying experience can be like. Tuan, BMW X7 or GLS 450, give me advice. Those are two really good choices. They're direct competitors to one another, so I can't really tell you to do one versus the other. It's going to come down to personal preference a lot, and what styling do you like better, what drive do you like better, how are the incentives on those cars. I can tell you that right now our incentives on GLSs, GLS 450s especially, are very strong. So I know that BMW tends to incentivize pretty strongly, so I think that we stack up well there. But again, you really can't go wrong with either choice. It's just going to come down to personal preference. What are the Mercedes lease deals right now? Well, we've got lease deals on just about every core model. I would tell you that the 2024 EQs that are remaining are extremely compelling, and that we got advance notice today from Mercedes-Benz. I've got a video that will come out either tonight or tomorrow saying that those programs are going to be pretty much cut in half come next month, which was a really nice heads up to get from them. So we've got about 10 days to find homes for these 2024 EQs, because they are, I get it, not everyone's into an EV, but if you are just looking for a really inexpensive luxury car lease payment, or you've got a negative equity situation that you want to undo as manageably as possible, these 2024 EQs are just bananas good deals. Where's this suit from? It's probably Macy's. Yeah, Calvin Klein, Macy's. I don't really go too hard in the paint on my suits because I just burn through them so quick, but I appreciate that you like it. Let's see, Matthew, love the channel. Thanks, Matthew. I appreciate that. Thanks for stopping by. Cass, I sent you an email. I don't know if it went to junk. I will have to check. Do you know where you sent it? But I appreciate that heads up. Let's see, Peter, when do you see the hybrid market? Where do you see the hybrid market heading when more luxury cars heading that way? Seems like gas engines or EVs. No, Peter, I think what you're going to see is hybrids are going to start to dominate. So I think as manufacturers pull back on EVs, because the demand isn't quite there and some of the regulations are getting relaxed, they're going to really go hard to the hybrids because it allows them to achieve some of the things they need to achieve for governments of the world, but it also kind of gives you allows people to dip a toe in the water, so to speak, with EVs, right? So you can get that electric range without having to rely solely on it being an electric car. So I think what we're going to see is a lot more EVs, a lot more hybrids hitting the market in the next several years as EV plans get slowed. Russ, shout out from Boston, bro, love the content. Thank you, Russ, I appreciate that. Love Boston, visited a couple times. I also love Nantucket, so I love that part of the world. One of my favorite places I've ever been on vacation. To the link in your bio. Okay. So did you send in your information to the team then? I'll have to double check on that. I'm really sorry that you haven't gotten a response yet. Living in San Diego, was in the Cleveland area and sadly forgot to stop by. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, if you're ever in the area by the dealership, feel free to stop by and say hi. Just picked up an E53 hybrid, love it. Nice, Andrew, congratulations. That's one of my other favorite cars that we have right now. That I think is one of the perfect, if you want like a sports car, but you also want to dabble with EV, that's a great car because you can get 50, 60 miles of range with the E53. TX, I'm the GSM, so that means that I run the sales department, right? So I oversee the sales department, and that's, but I frequently get promoted by all the fine people of social media to GM, so I do appreciate that. Norden, we're dead. Where are you working, Norden? What do leases on GLE 350s look like? Leases on GLE 350s are going to be in the $1,100 to $1,300 range, generally speaking, without a bunch of money down. William, yes, we are still taking applications. We all are still hiring. So if you go to the link in my bio, you will see the link to our online job postings. But thank you for everyone who's hitting the like button. Please continue to do so. We got a ways to go to get to 50,000 likes. And if you're not following already, would love and appreciate a follow. But I do appreciate everyone who's mashing the screen. Appreciate the way you run your business, Germ. I appreciate you saying that. Thank you. Andrew had 2 E63s and an M5 comp. E53 is comparable and smoother. Wow, that's an amazing lineup of cars that you've had. And yeah, the new E53 makes crazy power. I mean, it is in line power-wise with the previous generation E63, which is pretty amazing. Preston, what are your thoughts on buying an extended warranty or wheel replacement products from dealer after purchase, AMG Final Edition Wagon Owner? So with luxury cars that are going to be out of warranty, I think that an extended warranty is an absolute no-brainer. These cars, if something serious goes wrong, they're just expensive to repair, right? I'm not going to beat around the bush with that. I mean, luxury cars are more complicated. They have more components that can break, and they are just more expensive to work on. So extended warranties, I think, are very smart if you're going to own the car well into its out-of-warranty life. And the tire and wheel tire and wheel packages, that is the number one product that we sell here at the dealership. That also is a no-brainer. Those generally pay for themselves very quickly. The wheels, the tires keep getting bigger and bigger and smaller at the same time, right? The wheels get bigger, the tires get smaller. They're becoming easier to damage and pop, and they are expensive to replace. And if you crack a rim, that is really a lot of money to replace that, or to fix it. So a tire and wheel package, I think, especially on a performance car with low-profile tires, but even on the SUVs, that is just a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned. I noticed you ask customers if they have Amex, what's the benefit of Amex? Kenny, I apologize for the confusion there. The Amex program ended last year. Those videos that you see go out now those were questions that I was asking last year. The program expired. We don't have American Express anymore. But I asked to save people money because it qualifies them for discounts. So the new programs that we have are for AAA and Sam's Club members, Mercedes-Benz Club member of America Club members, military, all kinds of ways to qualify for it. Chris, should have gotten tire and wheel for my BMW, 2 flat tires in 2 days, one on my car, one on my loaner this morning. Yeah, it's one of those products when you don't have it, you end up needing it a huge amount of times, of course. No, Costco, unfortunately, is not a partner membership. program. They are partnered with Sam's Club on this particular incentive. So if I have 10K negative equity, is that 10K divided into the 36-month lease, or how does that work? It's a little bit like that, but you have to account for the cost of borrowing the money, right? So there isn't technically an interest rate on a lease. You have what's called a money factor, which is a rent charge, so to speak, but it does operate in some ways like an interest rate. So that is a known portion of it that you're not factoring. So $10,000 of negative equity is going to have about a $300 per month effect on your monthly payment, generally speaking. But if you were going to divide 10,000 by 36, it would maybe come out to like $275. So it's close, but not quite there. Let's see. Will the war affect the car? I mean, who knows, right? I mean, look, you never know what's going to affect the car business, right? But the car business is resilient. Dealerships that are in it, right? We've been through busy times, slow times, no inventory, too much inventory, right? We always find a way through. You said don't buy lease. I drive 19,000 miles a year for work. Are there any options for high mile leases? Yes, there's tons of them. I think now I can't speak for every brand in the world. I can't speak to every brand having these options, but Mercedes-Benz and many others do have high mile lease options, and it's very clear to me that the general public does not know this. I know that the advertised leases that you see online are always going to be like low mileage, like 10,000 miles per year, and that's not because that's what leasing is. It's just because that equals a lower payment, and they want to advertise a lower payment to get you interested, right? That's just what all manufacturers do. But high mile leases, I would argue that people that drive high miles are more, it makes more sense for them to lease than people who drive super low miles, right? It's the opposite of what everybody seems to think. And the reason for that is that when you drive a ton of miles, you are really throwing up your car situation to the universe, and you just don't know what kind of pain you could inflict over time driving all those miles. I mean, leasing gives you a guaranteed exit strategy. You go into a lease, and if you've calculated your mileage that you're going to need properly, you know what your monthly payment's going to be. You can prepay your maintenance, so all of that's included in the lease. You know it's a fixed cost that you can count on every month knowing. And then when you get to the end of the lease, we can look at that car, see if it's worth more or less than your buyout number, which is the residual number. And if the car is worth less, then you turn that car in and you lease again, right? If it's worth more, then you could buy it out, or you could pocket that difference and use it as a down payment towards your next car. But the point is that you have that option, right? When you buy a car, whatever happens, right? If the market on that particular car tanks, that's your fault now. That's your problem. You have to deal with that. If you drive a ton of miles and you have all kinds of maintenance problems, you can't just decide after 3 years that I'm done making payments on this. Like, you got to keep going. And if you get into an accident, that's the big one. Accidents affect the value of your car, right? Never mind the cost associated with getting them repaired and what it might do to your insurance, but that now follows the car for the rest of its life. So when I say think about your exit strategy, an accident on your Carfax means that when you go to trade that car in, whenever that day comes, or sell it privately, whatever you're going to do, that lowers the value of the car, because you have to put yourself in the mind of the next person that's going to own it. Right, and if I go to you, if I say I have two of the exact same 3-year-old used cars, right, that you own right now, whatever your used car is, take that and then an identical one in every way, and this one is clean, never been in an accident, and this one hit a deer, which one would you buy? The one that hit a deer or the one that's never been in an accident? Right? If everything's equal, you're gonna buy the clean car. Now, if it's hit a deer, you'll consider this if it's $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 less, right? So anyway, these are things that you have to think about when you own a car. When you lease it, whatever. You get into an accident, turn it in. No biggie. Jeff, Doug, thanks to you and the team for getting the GLS ready to ship super easy. Awesome, Jeff. Congratulations to you on your new GLS 63. It is a beauty. I saw it outside just a little bit ago, and we are, let me see here. Let me look at my shipping log here. I actually see some companies requesting to move that vehicle for us. Well, here, this one wants to pick up on Sunday. That's not going to work. So I will, let me see if we can get this one to work. Pick up tomorrow and hopefully deliver over the weekend. But yes, excited for you to get your new vehicle. Darth Avocado. Doug is the man. I appreciate that, Avocado. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who's hitting the like button. Thank you to everyone who's hitting the thumbs up button. If you're a new follower, thank you. Really greatly appreciate that. Roger, can you bargain finance pricing when your lease is up? I have Mazda. I'm not sure what you mean by bargain the finance price. The buyout price, the residual price is not negotiable, if that's what your question is. What makes the GLC Coupe so popular? Nicholas, I would say that it's just a very low production model relative to the regular GLC, and it kind of looks like a sports car, so its popularity, it's all relative, right? I mean, by sheer numbers, it sells in much lower quantities than the regular GLC does, but that's because they also make maybe one GLC Coupe for every 9 GLC 300s that they make. Deer hit 50% off, right? There you go. Are you saying that you will never have to deal with negative equity on a lease? Well, Rocky, you could deal with negative equity in a couple of scenarios. One, if you try to trade out of your lease early, then you're probably going to deal with negative equity. And if you contract for the incorrect amount of miles, right, then you would deal with a form of negative equity in the form of a mileage penalty, right? But we are going to sit down and really do that math with you to make sure that we know exactly how many miles per year that you're going to need so that we avoid that. And Slosh, yes, I don't sell the Sprinters myself, but we do have a Sprinter division. We have a great Sprinter team, lots of amazing inventory, so I can definitely plug you in with them if you need a Sprinter van. Doug, how low on the food chain can you get heated and ventilated seats? Cool, Kev, you can get heated and ventilated seats on just about everything now. So, in fact, I don't know of any models that you can't get it on anymore. But maybe not the CLA, I'd have to double check, but certainly the C-Class and up. Does a luxury dealership have a BDC sales department? Yes, we do have a BDC sales department, absolutely. We absolutely do. How common are dealer discounts on Mercedes, specifically the dealership discounting the vehicle, not the manufacturer? Very common. Well, they should be anyway. I mean, they, at least with us, all of our, with the exception of G-Wagons, G550s and G63s, all of our cars are discounted in some form or fashion. So go for the multi-contour seat package. Yeah, the multi-contour seat package is nice, but it depends on the model, right? Are you getting the multi-contours or are you getting the active multi-contours? Chaz, thank you for the follow. Jack, thank you for sharing the follow, or the live. When are the new EV CLAs coming out? Hope to have them by the end of the year. Any used AMG GTs available? Not yet. Discounts as an under MSRP? Yes. Yes. We refer to that as dealer contribution. We have a dealer contribution on every model other than G550 and G63. Okay? So all of our cars are priced to the market and they're competitive. We give everyone a great deal right up front. We're all about speed and efficiency here. We don't have time to mess around. And so if you're looking for a dealer that wants to do the whole big back and forth and lots of negotiation and go old school like that, I get it, right? If some people just enjoy that, that isn't us. You won't want to buy a car from us if you want to go do the whole big old school negotiation. But if you want to buy a car in like 20 minutes or less and have us deliver it to your driveway, then we're here for you. So Ryan, did you see that the EQS at least offered $241 a month after the insane discount? I think I did see that. There was a social media thing going around about that. I'm not sure what the particulars of that situation were, but unfortunately when those situations do happen and you get those crazy one-off vehicles that a dealership forgot about for one reason or another, and then they do some insane deal like that, it unfortunately sets pretty unrealistic expectations for everybody else. Would it be best to pay off a car loan first before using it as a trade? No. Please don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. Unless you're like a payment away, but if you have a loan on your vehicle, always let the dealership pay it off, because if you pay it off, now you're in limbo. Now your car is worthless until you have the title, and that could take weeks to a month depending on the lender, right? So never put yourself in that position where you could screw up your ability to trade in a car, Because if a dealership pays off your car for you, right, the net effect to you is the same, right? Either you're sending in the money or the dealership sending in the money on your behalf, and it's included in the deal. But it costs you the same, except that the title now comes to the dealership. So if it takes weeks to a month, that's our problem, not yours. But if your car is paid off, if there's no active lien on it and you don't have the title, your car is actually worthless, right? Because without the title, you can't do anything with it. Arizona, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. 20 minutes or less would be awesome. Yeah, James, we can do it. We're quick like that. Adam, how are the lease payments for 36 months, 12K miles on a 2024 EQS SUV? Well, Adam, EQS SUVs are rare birds now. They are very rare birds. So we are out of EQS 450s. All we have is a couple of 580s. Those are definitely pricier. So those are going to be up in the probably $1,400, $1,500 range. The EQS sedans are like half of that. So the sedans have the big money on them. They're very well incentivized. I encourage everybody to go to shop.mbzno.com. That is our online express store, and you can get all of our pricing is right in there. You can price out any of our new cars, used cars, our best prices there. You don't have to put your information in, but if you don't do that, then it's going to price it out as if you lived in Cleveland, Ohio. So if you want accurate pricing based on where you actually live, from taxes and fees perspective, you'll want to put in your basic info. But yeah, we put it all out there for you. So best cost-effective Mercedes SUV for a family of four would be our first. So Lance, that depends on how old your kids are, right? If you've got little kids, then you probably got to go GLE. If you've got older kids that aren't in car seats and needing strollers and everything else, then you could go GLC. But GLE is kind of the Goldilocks SUV for us. It's just right for most families. Good size, not too big, not too small. But if your kids are grown up and they're not in car seats, etc., then you could probably make a GLC work. Raphael, I've been hearing a lot of folks in California shipping vehicles to Oregon to avoid sales tax. Do dealerships? That's weird. I mean, you would have to have a residence in Oregon to do that. So you can't avoid, you're going to pay sales tax where you live and where the car is registered. So you can't just send it to a random state with low taxes unless you live there. Let's see. What's the GL stands for? Goldilocks. Yeah, that's what the GL stands for, Goldilocks. I love that. Adam, enjoy the content, Doug. I appreciate that. Peter, what was the first car you owned? That was a Ford Mustang. GT was my first car. Why do dealerships pull a lower credit score than what you actually have? Car credit? Well, it depends on what you're looking at. So every dealership pulls a different score depending on what their banks use. I mean, most auto lenders work with TransUnion, so and they usually have an auto-specific score, which means that if you're using something like Credit Karma or just a basic credit card monitoring service, right? They all kind of have their own formula that they're looking at, but the banks that do auto loans have a score that is different. They weigh things differently. They really weigh comparable auto history and installment loan payment history higher than anything else. So the scoring system is a little bit different. So usually what we see is that the scores we pull are higher than what people were seeing on their end. But I could see, occasionally it could go the other way. Dr. Goat, any expected release on the CLE 63? To the best of my knowledge, that will be by the end of next year. End of next year is when we expect that. How does Mercedes train you to sell the brand, not just the car? Well, they teach us a lot about the history of the brand, the innovation, all of the safety and technology, and they talk about what Mercedes-Benz stands for, which is the pinnacle of luxury. So yeah, they also teach us a lot about making it a very surprising and exciting experience, right? Celebrating your new car, because I know that a lot of people, cars are funny. Like, people like them and they're excited for them, but they also dread the process. So it's like this unique brain situation that you're in, where it's like you're going to buy this thing that you usually want and are excited about, but at the same time you're also dreading the process a little bit. And so it's like in the back of your mind you're kind of like a little bit guard up the whole time. So a lot of people we find like just have a hard time enjoying the process naturally when they get to a dealership. So we're all about how can we make this, how can we humanize it for them? How can we make it fun? How can we surprise them? How can we do something nice for them? How can we make it easy so that it's unexpectedly enjoyable, right? Those are the things that Mercedes-Benz really cares about and stands for. Bradley Walters, what does the dealer pay off on a car that has a loan? When the dealer pays it off, do you get a, do you get a discount? No, it's not that you get a discount, Bradley. It's just that you make the process much easier, right? If the dealership pays off the car, then they are in control of the title. You don't have to worry about it. If you pay off the car, then you can't trade your car in until you have the title in hand. Kimmy, I might have missed the first part of your question. Let me see if I can find it. I'm leasing a GLS 450. Do I have to do the oil change through MB? I would recommend it. If you can't, here's the thing. If you don't do it through Mercedes-Benz, then the place that you go may or may not be able to reset your service light. And if that is detected at lease end by the third-party inspection company, then they'll bill you for a service. So maybe you know somebody that can reset it. I don't know. Ruby, yo, how's it going? I'm watching your stream from Texas. Ruby, I appreciate you dropping in all the way from Texas. Thank you for being here. I appreciate that very much. Mark Duggar, are Mercedes wagons in high or low demand? Also, any plans for Mercedes to bring a smaller C-Wagon to the U.S.? So, Mark, I think we're seeing collective demand for wagons starting to tick up in America, which is amazing. I'm so happy about that. No plans for the C-Wagon probably, but we are getting the E53 wagon, which is an all-new model. That's coming out this year, and so that is a win. I'm excited about that. I have some designs to show you related to your stream and content. I'm sure you'll love them. Can I show you my work? I mean, sure. But what is the lease return inspection like? So Bradley, it's a company called AutoVin. Will come to your house, or they'll do it at the dealership. They look over the inspection, or they look over the car. Essentially, they have what we internally refer to as the credit card test, which is you take a credit card. If that credit card can cover up any damage, scratches, dings, dents, whatever, imperfections on the car, then they just look over it. You know, they glance over it. Doesn't affect you, right? Anything more significant than that, and they are going to assess a cost to replace that and fix that. Ruby, my IG is BenzsandBowties. Brian, why should consumers lease a vehicle if they drive 20K miles a year? Well, Brian, the reason that I recommend that consumers lease if they drive that many miles a year is that most people that drive 20,000+ miles a year still want a nice, newer car, and they don't necessarily have the mental fortitude or willingness to buy a older car and drive it for years and years and years into the ground. So what ends up happening is they buy these cars and they put 60, 80,000 miles on them in 3 to 4 years, and they depreciate them significantly faster than they're paying them down. Because what most consumers do that are borrowing money to finance a car, and by the way, borrowing money doesn't mean that you don't have the ability to pay cash for it. It just means that you'd rather maybe keep your cash investable, whatever. But most consumers will take out a longer finance term to have a more manageable payment. And almost 100% of the time, a 3-year lease payment will be in line with a 5 or a 6-year finance payment. So if somebody buys a car, they do a 6-year finance, and then they're driving at 20,000 miles a year, they will depreciate it so much faster than they're paying it down that by the time they go to trade it in, they have a massive negative equity balance, right? They've only paid it down this much, but they've depreciated it this much, okay? So that's what we see over and over and over again, because what happens is after 2-3 years, you're already out of warranty, okay? And a lot of people don't want to drive cars out of warranty, especially not luxury cars. So the reason that I tell people to lease when they drive high miles is that, yes, your payment might be a little bit higher, but you can avoid that possibility of massive depreciation. And especially, again, you're driving a lot of miles, that means you're on the road more often. You're opening yourself up to the more possibility of accidents or damage, whatever. As soon as that shows up on your Carfax, it's going to devalue your car. If you bought it, that is going to impact you when you go to sell it or trade it. If you leased it, not your problem, right? Assuming you get it repaired, of course. But point is that it's downside risk, mitigation when you lease. We're trying to protect people from downside risk and really save them from themselves, because doing this for 15 years now, what I see over and over again is people buy cars and they get a new one every 3 years. So, any good deals on EV G-Wagon? Well, we don't have any incentives from the manufacturer, but we are very aggressive on those. So, when we ever go back to traditional dashboard gauges, speedometers, etc., I'm not sure that they're going to do that. I do think that they'll go back to some more physical buttons inside of the car, in like the center display area where you have your telematics. I think that manufacturers are realizing that people prefer physical buttons in a lot of instances, but the dash itself, where your tach and your speedometer and all of that would be, I don't see them going back to gauges there, unless they're doing some kind of throwback car. So, Clifton is here from Bermuda. Thank you for stopping by all the way from Bermuda, Clifton. I appreciate that. Are you reading my chats? I can see some of them. I can make your logo, banner, and animation. Okay. Yeah, Ruby, that sounds cool. If I drive less than 4,000 miles a year, is leasing still a better option? If you are driving less than 4,000 miles a year, leasing is still a great option for you, but you could make the argument that for as little as you're driving, that buying the car makes more sense. But really, at the end of the day, it just comes down to this. How long do you keep your cars? If you keep your cars for 5 to 6 years or longer, then buy them. If you find yourself getting a new car every 2, 3, 4 years, you need to be leasing, because I promise you, you're costing yourself a lot of money. Now, this does not apply if maybe you're buying, a lot of the Toyota products that hold their value extremely well, even some Honda products. I'm talking to people who buy luxury cars. Luxury cars depreciate more because all of the buyers out there that want to buy them either want new or they want a crazy deal, right? So that pushes the market down. ECAT Sealy 53 configurator does not allow brown leather with blue exterior. Is there a way to bypass this by custom ordering only? No. ECATs, I can't give you an answer on why Mercedes-Benz has a couple of specific combinations that they won't allow. I really don't know what the reason is for that, but there is no current way around that. Do I consider Audi a luxury car? Yes. Todd, do you get dinged when you turn in a lease vehicle that has been in an accident and repaired? No. As long as it's been repaired correctly, you do not get dinged for that. What's the highest miles you've ever seen on a Mercedes? I mean, we have several cars locally that are over 250,000 miles. Canyon, I just got the 2025 AMG 63 SE leased. Have they told you about what's coming in 27 yet, and when I go to return this lease? We have a lot of new product that's coming next year for model year 2027, calendar year 2026. Beyond that, can't really speak to that just yet. All right. I think we've got about 10 minutes left in the day, so now's a good time for me to kind of hop off and wrap up our afternoon. But I do appreciate everyone hanging out today. Thank you for hitting the like button and the thumbs up button. That helps to push us out in front of more people. And if you're a new follower today, thank you and welcome. And if you're not already following, please do hit the follow button or the subscribe button over on YouTube. It means a lot to me, all of your support. And if I don't talk to you tomorrow, I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. So until next time that I see you.